I'm about to take you on a journey through time to the world's first great empire. Buckle up, because we're heading back to ancient Mesopotamia, where a guy named Sargon decided to shake things up.
This is the story of the Akkadian Empire, and trust me, it's going to be a wild ride.
So, it's around 2334 BCE, and Mesopotamia is a bunch of city-states constantly bickering with each other.
Enter the young artisan, a man believed to have risen from modest beginnings.
Now, we don't know exactly how he did it, but somehow, this guy managed to unite all of Mesopotamia under his rule. Talk about a career change. But Sargon wasn't content with just unifying Mesopotamia. Oh no, he had to go and found a whole new city called Akkad.
And you know what's wild? We still don't know exactly where it was.
That's right, one of the most important cities in ancient history, and it's playing an eternal game of hide and seek with archaeologists.
Classic Akkad move.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, so Sargon united some city-states. Big deal. But hold on to your...
They revolutionized warfare with the creation of the composite bow and the introduction of siege warfare.
Suddenly, those city walls weren't looking so impenetrable anymore.
But it wasn't all about smashing and bashing. The Akkadians also invented new ways of governing their vast empire. They created a centralized bureaucracy, yay, paperwork, and implemented standardized weights and measures. And let's not forget about religion. The Akkadian kings didn't just claim to be divinely appointed. They went
Talk about an ego boost.
With their fancy new military tactics and divine right to rule, the Akkadians went on a conquering spree that would make Alexander the Great jealous. They pushed their borders from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean, and from modern-day Turkey to the Zagros Mountains.
That's like conquering from New York to Miami, and then some.
But they didn't just conquer for the heck of it. The Akkadians were smart cookies.
They established trade networks, built roads, and created a postal system. Suddenly, you could send a clay tablet from one end of the empire to the other. Ancient Federal Express, if you will. The Akkadian Empire wasn't just big, it was connected. Now, you might be wondering, what happened to all those Sumerians who were there before? Well, the Akkadians didn't just steamroll over Sumerian culture.
They were more like cultural sponges, soaking up the best bits of Sumerian civilization and adding their own flavor.
It's like they made a Mesopotamian mixtape, blending Sumerian greatest hits with some fresh Akkadian tracks. Take language, for example. The Akkadians kept using Sumerian for religious and scientific texts, kind of like how we still use Latin for some fancy schminny terms. But they also developed their own language, Akkadian, which became the lingua franca of the ancient Near East. It's like they invented the ancient equivalent of Esperanto, and it actually caught on. So what was it like to live in this massive empire? Well, if you were royalty, life was pretty sweet.
You gotta live in a palace, wear fancy clothes, and maybe even claim you were a god.
But for the average Joe, or should I say, average Namu, life was, well, life.
Farmers farmed, traders traded, and craftsmen crafted.
But the Akkadian Empire brought some perks for everyone. The empire's vast trade networks meant you could get your hands on goods from far and wide.
And let's not forget about the ladies. Enter Enheduanna, daughter of Sargon and high priestess of the moon god Nana.
She wasn't just the first known author in history. She was dropping lyrical bombs that would make modern poets weep with envy.
Girl power, Akkadian style.
Let's talk about the bling. The Akkadian Empire wasn't just about conquering and governing. These folks knew how to make some seriously impressive stuff. Their art was on another level. We're talking intricate cylinder seals, lifelike sculptures, and steles that told stories in stone.
And architecture? They took the ziggurat, already pretty cool, and said, you know what this needs? More zigzag.
But it wasn't all about looking good. The Akkadians were also big on practical innovations.
They improved irrigation systems, developed new metalworking techniques, and even made advancements in mathematics and astronomy. These guys were the ancient world's Renaissance men, centuries before the Renaissance was even a twinkle in Italy's eye.
After Sargon kicked the bucket, or ascended to godhood, depending on who you ask, his descendants had some big sandals to fill. His grandson, Naram-Sin, decided to take the whole God-King thing to the next level.
Talk about a promotion.
But Naram-Sin's reign wasn't all divine wine and roses. He faced rebellions, had to put down uprisings.
It's like he was playing a really high-stakes game of whack-a-mole with the Empire's problems.
And all while wearing a horned crown that probably weighed a ton. Now that's multitasking.
Patience. But even empires have bad days, and the Akkadian Empire's bad hair day lasted for decades. Climate change.
Suddenly, being a farmer in the empire wasn't so great. And when people are hungry, they tend to get a bit rebellious. Who knew?
To make matters worse, the empire was facing threats from all sides. The Gutians, a group from the Zagros,
They invaded, and the Akkadian Empire started to crumble faster than a ziggurat made of sand.
So, the Akkadian Empire fell. Game over, right?
Not so fast. The impact of this empire echoed through history like a really persistent gong. The idea of a unified Mesopotamia? That stuck around.
The Akkadian language. It became the diplomatic language of the ancient Near East for centuries. And let's not forget about all those cool innovations in art, architecture, and technology.
And that's the story of the world's first empire. From Sargon's unlikely ascent to power, to the lasting legacy of Akkadian achievements.
It's a tale that proves history is anything but boring. So the next time someone tells you nothing interesting happened before last week, just smile and say, "Let me tell you about the Akkadians." And hey, if you enjoyed this epic journey through ancient Mesopotamia, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell your local Sumerian scribe all about it.